Hey friends, Tanya here. I am a nutritionist and cancer coach, a mom, a grandma, a wife, and an entrepreneur. I'm on a mission to help you establish your best health yet, and I do this by helping you to build up your immune system, get your energy back, and even help you to work on cellular repair. Join me as we jump into health and wellness strategies that are going to help you take your health back so that you can become your best self again. Let's dive into today's episode. Okay, hopefully the third time is the charm here because this is my third time trying to do this episode and it's been like an all-day endeavor. So I was going to give up, but I'm like, nope, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to conquer this. So this is my last chance. So welcome to today's podcast episode. Thank you for coming back. And this one is this one thing that will help you reduce your recurrence. You probably hopped on here because you're super curious about what this one thing is. And there are many things that can reduce our recurrence, but I wanted to start with this one thing because I don't want to say it's simple to do, but it's something that you can start implementing in your life immediately after you get done listening to this podcast. And that is reducing your toxin load. And there's multiple ways that you can do this, but I'm going to give you just some simple ones today that are easy to begin with that I started with when I had my cancer diagnosis 7 years ago. And before I start telling you some of the ways that you can start to reduce your toxin load in your body, this isn't going to be an emphasis on food. It's going to be more on products that we are putting on our body, around our body, in our home, and things like that. So, but before I start, I want to tell you why this is important. Like, why should we be thinking about the toxins that we're putting in our body? Because some people aren't. Like, a lot of people aren't. They don't look at their ingredients on their products. They don't think about that when they wake up in the morning, like, oh, well, how can I reduce my toxin load today? Like, it's just far from the minds of so many people. And so our bodies and our livers just get so overwhelmed with trying to keep up with the load of toxins that it's trying to get rid of to keep our body in harmony and in balance that it just starts to wreak havoc on our health. So I'm just going to give a couple reasons that came to my mind as to why I feel it's important for you to reduce your toxin load on your system. And the first thing that I thought of was people who are going through chemo treatments. If you are doing the traditional chemo treatments and not all natural, we know that chemo is toxic. And that's why the nurses who administer it to you are gowned up, have face guards on, have gloves on, because it's very toxic. It will destroy all of your good bacteria in your microbiome, your bad bacteria in your microbiome. And that's why a lot of people who are going through chemo treatments will get a lot of infections and get sick a lot because you don't have that good bacteria in there fighting for you. You will get sick more often because your immune system is being tanked. And so on top of having your chemo, if you are not intuitive about the toxins that you're putting in your body or around your body on the day-to-day, it can just be way too much for your liver, and eventually a lot of people will experience sepsis when they're going through chemo treatments and other cancer treatments and stuff like that. Like, I've heard multiple times that when patients die from cancer, that a lot of times it's not them dying from the cancer, it's them dying from the treatments and them dying from their body just being way too septic. And so that's why I want to make you aware of this, that there is a way that you can help yourself. And I'm going to share some of these ways with you today so that you can start to eliminate a lot of the things that you're probably currently doing. Also, toxins produce a lot of free radicals in the body. And when we have way too many free radicals in the body, this is deadly. It can lead to inflammatory diseases and a lot of inflammation in the body. When we have a lot of free radicals and a lot of inflammation, this damages your cells. And when you damage your cells, that's when cancer can start to take place. So it's another reason that we want to make sure that toxins are not one of those things that we are willingly putting into our temple. The two most important organs that we have are your liver and your kidneys, and these eliminate toxins from the body. And like I said before, when we have way too many toxins going in, they can start to become bombarded and overloaded and sluggish, and they just don't do their jobs as well as they're supposed to. The liver actually does over 500 functions in the body. Like, holy cow, that's a lot. 6 of them that I'm going to tell you today are they produce bile for us, they metabolize our carbs, fats, and proteins, they store vital minerals and vitamins, they filter the blood of excess hormones and toxins, they make and store our fuel for our body, and then they help keep our blood sugar levels at the right levels so that we don't have insulin spikes. So these are just some basic ones that I thought of, but man, 500 other functions that our liver does. And so every day we are willingly putting toxins into our body that our liver has to over and over and over again work at getting it out to keep our body in harmony and to be at the level that it's supposed to be so that disease can't take place. And every day we're willingly doing the same things over again. And after a while, it's just like, man, are you done yet? So these organs are super important to keep healthy and working properly, because if they're not, then that's when you can start to see that sepsis creeping in. You will start to feel it definitely with some symptoms, which I will talk about at the end. Toxins in the body also cause us to be acidic. You probably heard about acidity in the body and alkalizing. Which one does our body need to be? There is a little bit of controversial topics on this. Everybody that I follow and, my teacher at my nutritionist school that I go to swears by this. Books that I've read swears by this, that our bodies were meant to be alkalized. And I believe that myself too. I believe that we not only because of what they're saying, but to me, it just makes sense because our bodies are 70% water, and water is an alkalizing substance. And the fruits and the vegetables that we were created to eat from our creator are alkalizing. And so that just, in my mind, makes a lot of sense to me that when we are alkalized, disease is not supposed to happen in the body. Like, disease cannot take place in an alkalized body. And so that's why it's super important to make sure that we are eating the right kinds of foods, that we are getting in the water that we need to be getting into, and that we are keeping out as many toxins as we can, because not just food, but other things that we are sticking in our system, like the products that we're putting on us and the fumes and the chemicals that we're breathing in on a daily basis, all aid in either making us alkalized or making us acidic. So these are just a few reasons why I feel it's important for us to make sure that we are reducing our toxin load in the body, just because of the effect that it has on our body and the effect that it has on causing disease in us. Like, if you have cancer right now, or if you've had cancer, or even if you're trying to prevent cancer, like, that's the one thing that you want to make sure is on your mind, on top priority, is like, okay, how can I keep my body tip-top shape so that I get rid of this cancer that I have, or I make sure that it doesn't come back, or I make sure that I don't ever get it in the first place. And that all happens with things that we are doing to ourselves. And I know that it's not possible to make sure that you're keeping all toxins out of your body, because we live in a fallen world. We live in a world where we go outside and obviously there's toxins in the air. There's toxins coming out of the cars, of the exhaust that you're breathing in, and maybe smelling fumes of a burning fire, like, if you're having a barbecue or things like that. So we can't avoid it 100%, but we can avoid it a lot more than what we think and what we are doing. So the first thing I want you to start doing is reading labels. This is one thing that so many people are lazy about. I used to be lazy about it. I never read labels at all. And after I found out I had cancer and I was starting to reduce my toxin load and care about the things that I was around and putting on me and eating, every time I go shopping, I'm looking at the back of it. And I'm also trying to research and learn different chemicals and different additives that are being added to things, because sometimes they can be tricky. Sometimes they change the wording on it so that you don't know if it's a good chemical or not. And so it definitely is a training. It is I don't want to say a schooling, but it's something that you have to put some effort into doing. And over time, if you continuously keep doing it, it's just going to get easier and easier for you. To make the load a little bit lighter for you so that it's not so much work, you could download the app Think Dirty. I love this app because when I'm going to the store searching for like shampoos, conditioners, and the such, all you have to do is scan the barcode, and it tells you, it has numbers between 1 and 10. I think 1 to 4 is green and 5 to 10 is red. And so I try to buy all products that are in the green, and if they're in the red, back on the shelf it goes. So there are other apps out there like that for your food. And I think even EWG has an app that you can use as well. And sometimes I just go to their website and maybe we'll type in things, and they give you a lot of information on that on their website as well. So I will stick those down in the show notes for you so that you guys can check those out and maybe add those apps to your phone. Some ways that you can reduce toxins. The first one that I implemented into my life after I found out I had cancer was getting rid of my old cosmetics. And I used some really cheap, crappy makeup. And in the garbage it went. And I went to my natural store that we have here in town, and I bought all new stuff, because this is one thing that so many women use, and we're putting it on our face every single day. So cosmetics and skincare products were the first thing that I paid attention to and made sure that I had all natural, clean things that didn't have anything in them that was going to cause any kind of problems in my body. And skincare for sure, because you're putting that all over your skin. Like, your skin is the biggest organ that you have, and it only takes 26 seconds for something to absorb through the skin and to get into your body. So for someone like my stepmom who loves lotion and she's always lathering it all over the place on her arms, legs, hands, all the time, if this is something that you're doing on a day-to-day basis, it makes sense that you would want to make sure that it's clean and that it's not going to be causing you any issues as far as creating disease in the body. So that was the first thing that I implemented into my lifestyle after I found out that I had cancer. And there's a lot of things that are in cosmetics and skincare, such as, I've heard that there's mercury in mascara. You want to look for thimerosal in mascara, which is a mercury-based element. Sometimes they put formaldehyde in there, which is a known carcinogen. And I've also read that they put coal tar in for color, which contains heavy metals. So definitely check your mascara. And if you think that maybe there's something in there that shouldn't be in there, throw it out and find something that's all natural. Another one that I have done some research on is titanium dioxide. This is a possible carcinogen, and it's used for its additives in there for coloring. It makes like some of your makeup that is white. It aids in adding the color to it. They use it in white supplements as well for the color additive. And it's also used as an anti-caking agent, which is why they use it in makeup as far as like powders go. And so that was, if I see titanium dioxide, I don't buy it. because of some of the research that I have done that has said that it could be a possible carcinogen. And even if it says possible, I am like, I'm not even going to take any chances because my life is precious to me. And I don't just take the first article that I read. I always try to find multiple resources, and if I see it over and over and over again saying the same thing, then I'm just like, I'm not taking any chances because my life is precious. I don't want to get cancer again, and I know that there's products out there that don't have titanium dioxide, so why not just get those ones? Titanium dioxide is also linked to changes in your microbiome. It can cause inflammatory bowel disease and even colon cancer. So, yeah, that just doesn't sound great to me. Some other additives that I look for are dyes. There's so many dyes in our stuff. I know red dye number 3 is not allowed to be in makeup, but it is allowed to be in your food. And I just read an article recently that talked about Peeps, how our Easter candy Peeps has red dye number 3 in it. And this just like made me livid thinking of all the little kids with their Easter baskets having this candy in it that is known to cause cancer, and it's allowed to be in there. You also want to look at your M&Ms, your Skittles, your Starbursts, your juices that have coloring in it, and check to see if this red dye number 3 is in there as well. And then caramel coloring is another one that I look for. Caramel coloring is one that is used for it's used as a coloring agent, so they use it in your dark sodas, and it's also used in supplements. So if you have any supplements that have a dark color to it, like a dark brown or a black, you might want to check the back and make sure that there's no caramel coloring in it, because this is another additive that has had some stuff on it linking it to being cancer causing. So do your research on a lot of these things. And like I said, just use your best knowledge, your best wisdom, go with your gut. And if you're not sure, then still stay away from it. That's my best advice. If I'm not sure, I'm not going to take any chances on my health because my life is way too precious to not take it seriously. And when I know that there's products out there that don't have these, like, why would I even want to mess around with it? You also want to make sure that you're paying attention to things that are in your hair care products and hair dyes and things that are in like sprays, like hairsprays, perfumes that you're using, room refresheners. Every time you spray this stuff, you're breathing it in and it's going into your lungs. And especially if it's like a room refreshener, like Febreze or like those Glade plug-in things, like you're breathing this in all day long if you're in your home. And so you're continuously being exposed to this toxic that is gradually over time destroying your cells and adding all of these free radicals to your body and inflammation. And a lot of people don't even think about that. Like all they want is their house to smell good or their body to smell good. And they don't think about what it's actually doing to them. But there are natural things out there. Like if you just go to a nutrition store, if you go to Amazon, like there's a lot of places, there's a lot of network marketing companies that have better alternatives than what is being sold in the store today that are cleaner, all natural, non-toxic versions. Cleaning supplies is another one that you want to make sure that you are swapping out toxic versions for the non-toxic ones. I read an article once talking about how women who are stay-at-home moms have a higher toxin load than women who work. And obviously that's because they are home more, especially if you have little ones at home who are making a mess all the time, or if you are a homeschool mom, your house is going to be dirtier. Like I was a homeschool mom, and after an hour of cleaning, my house could be messy again. Like you have dishes constantly, you have laundry constantly, you have things that are just, getting misplaced because that's what you're doing all day. You're all living in this home, and it's just doesn't stay as tidy as if nobody was home, so they found that women who stayed home had a higher toxin load because they were using cleaning supplies obviously they were toxic ones and they had a higher toxic load. So if you are a stay-at-home mom, you definitely want to make sure that you are using all natural products that have good ingredients in your stuff so that you are not only exposing yourself but exposing your little ones who are crawling around on the floor, and your animals too. Like your animals can be affected by this. This could also be contributing to kids' behaviors, like if you suspect maybe one of your children have ADHD. I have seen studies that have been linking chemicals to a lot of these behaviors that some kids are having. If you're a pregnant mom, you want to make sure that you are using non-toxic products as much as possible, because there have been some research on a lot of these toxins being passed to the baby in utero. And I've wondered about this. I'm like, how can children and babies get cancer being so young when they haven't really been exposed to much? And this makes sense to me if all these toxins that we're putting in our body are being transferred through the placenta to the baby, and then they're being absorbed in their bodies, and they end up getting cancer because of it. That makes a lot of sense to me. Candles is another one that a lot of people don't think about, and these have really been linked to cancer and are carcinogenic because of all of the fumes and chemicals that they give off. And this is one that I, for the most part, gave up in my life. Like, I used to burn them all the time. Now I just have them in my home just for emergencies. Like, I keep them here for, I guess, like if we have like a storm and I'm afraid the lights might go out. Or every once in a while during Christmas time, I will light a candle, but it has to be one that's like soy based with essential oils or beeswax based. And so it's a cleaner, non toxic version of a candle. But I've really been enjoying essential oils because I know that essential oils, if you use the right brand, is not going to be toxic to my body. It's actually going to be doing the opposite and being healing, because essential oils come from plants, and plants are very healing for the body. And speaking of like cleaners and, things like that, we can use essential oils to clean our house with, because a lot of essential oils have been found to kill off germs and bacteria and viruses and things. So we can, put some oils in a spray bottle and use these oils to clean our counters, toilets, and floors like that. And we know that we are not causing damage to our bodies or our kids or our animals or anything like that. And you can use essential oils, for bug repellents, for any kind of medicine that maybe you might need. There's essential oils for pain relievers if you don't want to use Tylenol. That has been linked to kidney damage or liver damage. And you can also use essential oils for your skincare routine as well. You also want to consider the outside chemicals that you're using. If you maybe garden and you're using pesticides or weed killers or bug sprays, all of these things have been connected to causing cancer in people. I've even heard of there being a big connection to farmers getting cancer because of the pesticides that they're spraying on their fields. So I do know that there are all natural and organic things that you can be putting outside that will help to eliminate your weeds. Like, I've heard of using salt on weeds. I've heard of using vinegar on some weeds. I've used diatomaceous earth before in my garden to get rid of bugs. And, you can use it to get rid of spiders. You can use it on your dogs to get rid of fleas and ticks and stuff like that. So you might want to look into diatomaceous earth. And there's just a lot of other natural things that we can use on the outside that are not going to be so toxic. And one place I suggest maybe going is on Pinterest. That's where I find a lot of my information from. Go on there, make an account if you don't have one, start making some boards so that you can go back and find your information that you want. And don't forget to follow me on there. But Pinterest is my jam. Like, I find all my recipes on there. If I need any kind of information, I go to Pinterest. Now that we're getting into the summertime, you want to make sure that you are looking for some healthier versions of tanning lotions and sunscreens. Oh my gosh, don't even get me going on the topic of sunscreen. Like, this is a super controversial topic that some people can get pretty hot about. They think that if you don't wear sunscreen, you are like bad mom if you don't put it on your kids or put it on yourself, and you're going to get skin cancer. And I don't agree with that. Like, I have my own opinions about it, and I understand, people have their own opinions about it, but to me, it just makes more sense to not wear sunscreen because the sun is super important for your skin. It's what's going to give you your vitamin D. If you don't have vitamin D, it can cause a lot of damage in your body. It can cause a lot of disease in your body. And there's actually proven studies done saying that, like, I don't even know the percentage of it, but it was a huge percentage of people who have cancer were very low in vitamin D. So basically, the study was saying that being low on vitamin D increases your chances of getting cancer. And when you put sunscreen on your skin, you are blocking that ability for vitamin D to penetrate through your skin and to get into that layer of cholesterol on your skin that it needs to get into so that it can convert to vitamin D and make you healthy. So, in my opinion, I feel like you're doing more damage to your body by using sunscreen, and you have more of a capability of getting cancer by using it because of the number of bajillion chemicals that are on the back of it that you probably can't even pronounce, and because you're blocking that vitamin D from getting into your system. Another thing that I changed over when I found out I had cancer was the products that I was using in my kitchen. I eliminated, and this took me a while because it's going to take you a while to find the things that you like and find the things that work for you. And that was getting rid of as much plastic. Like, I used to use plastic cups, plastic bowls, plastic spatulas, and I went and started using more stainless steel for my spatulas and like wood. And I started using more glass and stainless steel bowls. I use a lot of stainless steel, cast iron, ceramic, or glass for my cooking stuff. You want to make sure that you're staying away from anything that's aluminum because aluminum can leach into the body and cause dementia and Alzheimer's over time. And so this is an easy step that you can start to implement is throw out the plastic and start using a lot of these things that I just mentioned below. One of the companies, and I don't have any of their products yet, but I will be getting them. They've been on my wish list for probably 6 months now since I've heard about them, and I've been doing research just to make sure that they are legit, is the company Caraway. They have the most amazing cookware stuff that you can buy. So look up that company. I will also put a link down in the show notes. So these are just some easy tips and some steps that you can start to implement into your day-to-day starting right now or tomorrow, whenever you decide that you can begin to implement and start switching things over, swapping things out, getting rid of things that you know are toxic. And this doesn't have to be stressful and overwhelming. You don't want to do everything all at once. Just start with one thing at a time. Like, maybe today you want to start with swapping out your skincare. And then after you find something that you like, that you know has clean ingredients in them, then after that you might want to go to your makeup, and then after that you might want to start with your cleaning supplies. So it's a journey, and let it take time if you have to. Like, doing something is better than doing nothing. And give yourself, like, by the end of 2023 or even 2024, like, tell yourself by the end of 2024 I'm going to be completely non-toxic and my household is going to be completely non-toxic, so that I know not only am I benefiting from it and am I getting healthy and not causing disease to my body, but I'm also helping my husband and my kids and even your animals, so everybody gets to benefit from this. Hopefully this was helpful for you today. I want to just end off with some warning signs that maybe you might be overloaded in toxins. There's some things that you can start to look for in your signs and symptoms if you're experiencing any of these today. And one of them is constipation. If you deal with constipation chronically, like I'm not just talking about, oh, I had constipation for 2 days and now it's fine. Like, I mean, like, this is like ongoing all the time. And it's for as long as you can remember. Maybe you've had constipation since you were a kid. This could be a sign that you are overloaded in toxins. Another one is constant fatigue. Same concept, not just here and there. Like, this is something that is chronic, something that you've maybe tried to alleviate, and maybe you've tried different modalities and you just can't find anything to help you get over this fatigue. This could be a sign as well. Skin problems like maybe rashes and acne, headaches and migraines that you just can't seem to pinpoint what the problem is. You've maybe gone to doctors and they can't figure out what's causing them. You could have possible mood swings. You could have bad breath, muscle and joint pain. Can't lose weight. Maybe you're overweight and you just can't get the weight off no matter what you try. And then also hot flashes. And I'm not talking about people who are maybe going through menopause. Like, this is for anybody. If you are dealing with hot flashes and you have no idea what it's caused from, you're not taking any kind of medications, which could be a side effect, or maybe you even wake up in the middle of the night with hot flashes and night sweats where maybe you're drenching through your clothes. These could all be signs that your body is overloaded with toxins, and you might want to consider doing some sort of a detox and or a cleanse. There are lots of things that you can do to detox toxins out of your body, and I will save that for another episode because I know a lot of things that you can start to implement and a lot of cleanses and detoxes that you can do. Foods that you can eat that help detoxing, herbs that you can help. So I don't want to make this another hour long, so I'll save that for another episode. But before you even think about doing a detox or a cleanse, just starting with some of the things that I talked about today and swapping out a lot of these products that you are using in your day-to-day life and finding cleaner ones is going to be an amazing step forward, because you are slowly going to be putting a stop to the toxins that are entering your body, because you're no longer going to be using those things anymore. And once you stop putting the toxins in, you're giving your liver a break. Like, it doesn't have to work so hard anymore, and it doesn't have to constantly be doing the same thing over every single day. And so this is really going to be a good step for you to start with. And, after a time, your body's going to start to heal and your cells are going to start to heal, and your inflammation and your free radicals are going to start to slowly diminish. And eventually you may not have any inflammation anymore. And so start there first. Start with one thing today. And, after you get a lot of these things accomplished and you are on the right path to living a non-toxic life and lifestyle, then come back and, let's think about doing a detox and a cleanse. Hopefully you guys come back for another episode next week. So I will catch you guys next time. Hey friends, thank you for coming back to Crushing Cancer Podcast. I hope that you loved today's episode and that you found some value in it. If so, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating, a review, and then also subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you have any friends or family members that may benefit from this podcast or any of these episodes that I have, please share them out to them. You just never know who could be blessed by listening to a particular one or just following the podcast in general. Don't forget to look at the show notes down below. I have some information down there. I have some ways to follow me or any guests that I have on the show. And I also have my Crushing Cancer program open. So if you are looking for a coach and you want more information on this program, connect with me on Facebook or Instagram, and I can give you more details on that. So hopefully you loved this episode and that you come back next week, and we'll talk to you later.